Hey guys, thanks for showing up. Hi, name's Zaft, Zaft the Tank. I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about the talents that are coming through. I'm here on the beta, good to go. This is probably closest to the final looks at the actual Paladin talents that we're going to have. So we're going to keep that in mind. So I already have a tree set up right now, but I'm going to kind of walk you through a little bit of decision making that I did while I was making these trees. Okay? So first and foremost, whenever you get, we're going to reset all talents. So first and foremost, when you start off with the Prot Paladin, we're also going to start with, we're going to start over here on the left hand side, right in the Paladin section. Immediately, we're definitely going to want to get Hammer of Wrath. And we notice that a big change that's coming in Dragonflight for Paladins is uh, a lower instance of Holy Power generation. The Holy Power generation that's coming with us into Dragonflight is not nearly as high as what we see towards the end of Shadowlands, which makes sense. Stuff like Divine Toll and the 4 set that comes out increases our Holy Power generation exponentially. It's really a powerhouse. But one of the main things, the main changes that is coming is with Avenger's Shield will no longer generate Holy Power, and this is actually turning a lot of people away from Paladin. I'm gonna maintain Prot Paladin. I found a way to kind of make it work. It doesn't feel terrible to me, if only because of another change that they make, but we're gonna get into later. So, if you guys remember from my first video that I made, I was very upset about these auras. I hate the. I'm not happy about them. However, they did make a change to Retribution Aura that I am really enjoying, and it's actually making me run Retribution Aura constantly. Like I'm even choosing it over the base 3% damage reduction that comes with Devotion Aura. I'm almost saying like, hey, 3% is negligible. I'd rather opt for this. If for whatever reason you're doing a fight where you're kind of struggling with the damage, run Devotion Aura. I suggest it for progression. I'm not seeing much use of Conk Aura. Maybe this will come into a play in different like boss fights, maybe into different Mythic pluses. But as of right now, the big choice for Prop Paladin is between Devo and Retribution Aura. I run Retribution Aura because the big change that I had. So originally it was just when any party or raid member dies within 40 yards, you gain Avenging Wrath for 12 seconds. Cool boost for something, when people die. The other part of it, though, is when any party or raid member within 40 yards takes more than 50% of their health in damage, you gain Seraphim for 4 seconds. This cannot occur more than once every 30 seconds. That's kind of a long internal cooldown, but pretty consistently every 30 seconds I have Seraphim going. I was doing heroics earlier on the beta, and I was doing them with Mr. Eggplant as well as with Teach Gaming. They were we were running, and like we would just be in a fight and there would be like some damage that went out to like the whole raid or the whole group, and Seraphim would pop. So I don't know what exactly the internal like calculator is on it. I don't know if it's like, hey, since the last time this procced, somebody took up to 50%. I don't know if it's like a stacking thing. I don't think it has to be all at once. Nobody was like I would get Seraphim and like everybody was topped off, right? Nobody was below 50%. So I'm not entirely certain how the modifier works. Um, but I've been taking it and I've been putting really good use of it. If you're doing Mythic Plus, I'm gonna recommend Blinding Light. I think that it's better. There might be some scenarios where you pick Repentance, probably on oh my goodness, Inspiring Week. Although is Inspiring one of the ones they're getting rid of? I'm not entirely sure. Um, there's one affix that they're getting rid of, and I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. So Blinding Light is really good though, especially if you're running a Tauren Paladin. Between Blinding Light and War Stomp, it's great for just an easy, quick interrupt that you can get off, especially if you have multiple casts going on in the group. You just click this, instantly stops them. They'll probably recast, but then you can also War Stomp, and it gives you a little bit more time, just buys you time. We're obviously going to want Cleanse Toxins. This is a basic kind of need for Paladins. I think all Paladins should have Cleanse Toxins. I'm personally running it because I know in my raid group I'm the only Paladin, and sometimes You don't have a lot of people who can cleanse both poisons and diseases. It's also nice to just have that to like cleanse stuff off of yourself. There was one that we ran, one heroic that we ran where there were a lot of like bleeds and poisons and diseases, and it definitely mattered that I was able to just take that off of my healers. They didn't have to do that. Divine Steed, easy sprint ability. Even if we don't take this and we just go for Fist of Justice, which we obviously want to do, and we go into Greater Judgment, we still need something somewhere. You could opt out of Divine Steed, but then you're missing out on Avenging Wrath. Um, I couldn't see a single situation which you're not opting for Divine Steed. It is your movement ability, it's your bread and butter, it's your sprint. Um, while I think that it's not necessary for you to have to go into stuff like Cavalier, or I don't think that you need Seasoned Warhorse, I do think you need at least Divine Steed. I do want to point out Seal of the Templar. While mounted on your charger or under the effects of Crusader Aura, the range of Hammer of the Righteous, Rebuke, and Hammer of Justice are increased by 3 yards. That's cool. I kind of wish that they increased it just a little bit more. They gave it either like 5 or 10 yards to give us just like a little bit more ranged capability. I think that would be really cool, especially for Ret Paladins. Um, but as of right now, I don't think anything else is necessary for this fourth row. Obviously, we want Avenger's Wrath. Easy get. We're obviously going to want Rebuke. Gotta have our Interrupt. That's just, again, bread and butter kind of thing. Uh, Holy Aegis increases armor and crit strike chance. Armor, very obvious for a prot paladin. Crit strike chance, though, very low. Little known fact for some newer paladins. Your crit strike chance increases your parry. So that is a huge defensive right there. Uh, Damaging holy spending abilities. We'll get back to that. We definitely are going to want Blessing of Protection, though. That's just very basic. I also like to do Judgment of Light here. It causes your next 20. It causes the next 25 attacks against the target to heal the attacker. This is what I have in like current on retail, and I like it. It's a nice basic heal. I have the bit band that's like if you heal a target below 50% health, then you gain. I think I gain like an absorb shield. That's my logic loop. So my bit band logic loop make it so that this is constantly healing people. Even if like I'm not intending to heal people, I'm healing people. The other thing you could do is Golden Path. Golden Path is just as valid, I think. If you take Golden Path over this, I don't think that that's incorrect. Unbreakable Spirit reduces the cooldown of your Divine Shield, Ardent Defender, and Lay on Hands all by 30%. That's huge. I think that it's very important, right? Cooldown reduction, huge. Doo doo doo. So, Touch of Light. Your spells and abilities have a chance to cause the target to erupt into blinding light, dealing holy damage and healing an ally. Also, very good. Passive healing. Anything that you can get that's passive damage and healing. Each holy power spent has a 5% chance to cause your consecration to flare up, dealing holy damage to up to 5 enemies within it. This will be really good for Mythic Plus, and I think this is like the difference between like, do I choose this for Raid or for Mythic Plus? Raid or Mythic Plus, right? If you have more targets to hit, obviously Incandescence. If you have just the one target, but you have more people to heal, Touch of Light. So I'm going to say Incandescence for now. Reduces the cooldown of Blessing of Protection and Spell Ward by 60 seconds. Right now it's sitting at a 5-minute cooldown. I think they might be reducing this. But it reduces it down to 4 minutes. There aren't too many times where you're bopping things, but when you do, you're going to want to take that. I'm going to go with Golden Path, if only just to have it. It's not bad. We'll go with After Image. Honestly, I'll actually pick Blessing of Freedom, and then because love to have your Blessing of Freedom, and then I'll have Blessing of Sacrifice. I think Blessing of Sacrifice is uber important for raiding. If for whatever reason you don't want to do all that, I would recommend Recompense over Sacrifice of the Just. If you find that there's a lot of instances of like smaller damage that's going out, maybe Blessing of Set, maybe just so that way you can do it every minute and a half. It's not a bad cooldown. Reduces the damage taken by 30%, which is up from the regular 20%. That's not bad at all. but I do like the idea of turning that damage back into damage done to the boss. So especially this almost like encourages you to, well, this encourages you to use it on cooldown. This encourages you to use it um, intelligently. So this is maybe the kind of thing that you use in raid, and this is maybe the kind of thing that you use in Mythic Plus, right? This so holy power gener this so I think that this was put in here to kind of like say like, hey, we took out a lot of holy power generation, let's give them this to triple it, and that might be a good way to do it. But if you feel like you're lacking the haste or the capability to, absolutely take Holy Avenger. I'm gonna take Divine Porpoise because I love me some porpoises. Um, of course, I'm gonna go for my. You gotta get your haste up. I'm gonna take Sanctified Wrath, calls upon the light to become an avatar of retribution. So this is with Avenging Wrath. Causes your judgment to generate one additional holy power. I think they actually nerfed this because it used to be one additional holy power and Hammer of Wrath extends the duration, but I think that might be this. I think they just took that and they put it over here, which we're also going to get. Now this one you can go either way, Speed and Avoidance or Hallowed Ground. This depends entirely on, do you think that you need more damage reduction or more damage? That's entirely the difference. That's entirely up to you as a tank. I like to take the more damage. Your attacks have a chance to cause your target to take increased holy damage, and then we're gonna go for Paragon. Now we got 3 more points, and these are kind of this is where you get to kind of like build your own stuff. I've seen people do this where they'll take Seal of Might, right, or they'll take After Image and maybe this, and they'll opt out of those two, right? Maybe they don't care, right? I don't think I'll ever not have Blessing of Sacrifice, but I might not go into Recompense or Sacrifice of the Just, right? So I might try something else. Has a 5% chance to reduce the holy power cost in your next word or shield. Totally fair. Your Blessing Hammer now grants you 0% increased strength. That's good. Uh, just good. Uh, I'll probably end up doing those two, and then I might do. Oh man, you could go for a lot of things. I mean, you could go for just that. Uh, there's a little bit more flexibility, I will say. And you can do a little bit more. Well, actually, I think what I'll do is I'll do Abjurancy just to have that. I think your final point can go kind of wherever you want, and you can kind of play around with it. But I do think that this is a decent build. You might not even need to take Seal of the Light if you really feel like going all the way down to Dusk Till Dawn, which is not. It's okay. Um, that's fine. And that like I haven't seen a lot of people picking these talents if I'm being completely honest. And I think that's just because they like the burst potential of Sanctified Wrath plus Zealot's Paragon. All right, that being said, let's move on to actual Prot Paladin. Obviously, Avenger Shield. I've been taking Readout. I need to play around with this just like a little bit more. Because I think I was finding that I could keep up Readout for extended periods of time. I didn't find that I was lacking a lot of holy power, even in this kind of like nerf state that Paladin's in, even without my 4-set or without my legendaries. I still found that I was pretty effective at keeping Shield of the Righteous up. And for whatever reason you find that you're not keeping Shield of the Righteous up, go for Inner Light. That's the easy. If you can keep Shield of the Righteous up, read out. If you cannot, or you're finding that you cannot, then do Inner Light. I do read out. I've been choosing Blessed Hammer, and hasn't always been the go-to pick for me, so this is a little different. So the reason I chose this is that if you do Hammer of the Righteous, you only have 2 charges of Hammer of the Righteous, right? It's guaranteed it's gonna hit the thing that it's gonna hit, right? That's just, I mean, it's gonna hit the thing, it's gonna hit the things around it. It's guaranteed damage. Blessing of Hammer is a little bit more lucid. It's a little bit more finicky to try and do. But if you're doing Mythic Plus, I find that it's very effective at hitting what it needs to hit and doing what it needs to do. And it has 3 charges. If you look down here, you can see, right? And we're trying to maximize out our stuff. We're trying to maximize our amount of holy power generation because we're lacking it from our Avenger Shield. If for whatever reason they add that back in, uh, the Holy Power generation, I might go back to Blessed Hammer just because it's more consistent damage. We're obviously going to want Holy Shield. Your block chances increase by 20%. You're able to block spells. Your successful blocks deal holy damage back to your attacker. That is defensive. That's higher defense. That's more defense. And it's offense on our defense. All incredible stuff. An easy pick. Shining Light. So this is what I was talking about. So every 3 Shield of the Righteous make your next Word of Glory free. On retail, it's every 5. That's just a passive ability that all Prot Paladins get. It's every 5 Holy Power, every 5 Shield of Righteousness. Makes your next Word of Glory free. So now it's down to 3, and that makes it just like a little bit more lucrative, right? Because if I'm using Shield of the Righteousness and I'm doing it kind of correctly, I'm more often able to heal myself and keep myself topped off. It just gives me that little bit more flexibility. I don't feel like I have to save my free Word of Glory sometimes, because I could just build one up quickly again. So I do like, so while like I'm lacking the holy power from here, I'm getting a lot more self-healing when it comes to Shining Light. I feel like I'm able to Shining Light probably as often and as effectively as a Blood DK is getting off their Death Strikes. Uh, so I think that's great. Ardent Defender, easy take. 1.5 minute cooldown, reduces damage taken by 20%, and it works as a cheat death if you do it correctly, which you should be using it correctly. This is the kind of thing that you should be uh, in a fight that's pretty stagnant, doesn't have a lot of spike damage. You should be using it consistently. You should be using it constantly just to reduce damage. But if you're in a fight like off the top of my head, Attunement from Lower Karazhan, right? If you do a solo soak of the Shared Suffering with Ardent Defender and a Shining Light free Word of Glory lined up, you are going to save yourself and be topped off. That's just how it works. Literally anything that is going to reduce you below that 20% mark, boom, save yourself. Ardent Defender, great. Perfect for Rygalon and his and soaking the orbs, same combo. This word of glory. Beautiful. Gives you that good word. I don't know if you need Consecrated the Flame. It lasts 2 seconds longer and its damage is increased by 20%. I thought maybe, but I don't know. I would rather go with something like Inspiring Vanguard. It has a chance to uh, Grand Crusade's chance is increased to 20% and grants you 2% strength for every 8 seconds. The reason I would choose this, for those of you who don't know, Grand Crusade, what it is when you avoid an attack, so that is block, parry, dodge, right? Or otherwise just avoid an attack completely, glancing blows, they miss. All of those. There is a chance when that happens that you will get a free and reset cooldown of Avenger Shield. On top of that, whenever you use your Blessed Hammer, and it's whenever you use, not whenever it hits, whenever you use it, it also has a chance to activate it. Uh, Inspiring Vanguard, I just think is a very good one. I don't think we need a reduced cooldown of Lay on Hands, and I don't think we need Consecrated Ground. But there is some good stuff over here. I think it is. I think you want that, but I don't think you need to. I don't think you need to go that way to get there. So we're gonna go over here. Blessing of Spell Warder. This is great. I think it's entirely Blessing of Spell Warder and Blessing of Protection. I think they're entirely situational. They've always been the situational picks, right? For very obvious reasons. One does physical damage, right? Physical damage and harmful effects. This one stops magical damage and harmful effects. That's just that. I'm gonna go with improved, just because the damage reduction, it's gonna increase that 20 up to 30. I think it says it right here. Oh, maybe I didn't spec into it because I'm an idiot. We're going to go with Bulwark of Order. Avenger Shield also shields you for 8 seconds, absorbing 100% as much as the damage you do. We're banking on our Avenger Shield doing lots of damage. With that in mind, we're going to go Tears Enforcer. It's imbued with Holy Fire, causing extra holy damage to all enemies within 5 yards. Massive for those things. And then every 3 Holy Power reduces the cooldown of Ardent Defender and Divine Shield by 1 second. That's each 3 holy power spent. That's a big healing, big cooldown reduction. We do love that cooldown reduction. Um, maybe don't need Relentless Inquisitor because we're just going to go over here and we're going to get either Avenging Right, increasing your crit strike chance. Also very good for that kind of defense that's all parry for us. I'm instead going to opt for Sentinel though, because it is kind of the new hotness. It's a little bit more dynamic. Call upon the light. You gain 15 stacks of Divine Resolve, right? Increasing your maximum health by 2%, reducing damage taken by 2% per stack. So immediately, 30% health, 30% damage reduction. All right. After 10 seconds, you begin to lose 1 stack per second. But each holy power spent, each 3 holy powers spent will delay the loss of your next stack by 1 second. While active, your judgment generates 1 additional holy power, damaging healers, blah 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 blah. Hammer of Wrath may be cast on the target, combines with Avenging Wrath abilities. So that means stuff like this and Zealot's Paragon, all stuff. Which Zealot's Paragon kind of busted. Guardian and Ancient Kings, easy pick. 50% damage reduction for 8 seconds on a 5-minute cooldown. Kind of long, but we do love it. It's our bread and butter. It's beautiful. I do like Light of the Titans. Word of Glory heals for an additional, what's that, 20,000 over 15 seconds. Increased by 50% if you cast on yourself while you are afflicted by a harmful periodic effect. That'll be huge for something like Morose. Anything that does periodic consistent damage. Hand of the Protector is great if you feel like using your Word of Glory on other people. I am selfish, so I'm going to go with no. And then I'll go with Strength of Conviction. While in your consecration, your Shield of the Righteousness and Word of Glory have a 20% chance, 20% increased damage and healing. You don't have to do this one. You can actually, of course, do Barricade of Faith. The reason, though, and I'm actually going to take it out of there. The reason, though, I would go with this is because you definitely want Crusader's Judgment. Judgment now has 2 charges, and Grand Crusade now also grants a charge of Judgment. So that means all of this that we talked about, the avoiding stuff, all this, will also affect your ability to generate more holy power, not just throw out shields. Casting Word of Glory grants you an additional 10% block. Very important. We're going to be getting off way more Word of Glories, and we're definitely going to want to use them on cooldown. We don't want to save them. We just want to use them, right? We're definitely going to want that. Increases your block chance, which means that we're going to be hitting more Avenger Shields. I like Divine Toll. I still love Divine Toll. It feels good to press. It feels like a cool button. It's a little bit more smart in the beta, I've been finding. And it's, I like it a lot. I think that it's a good mass silence. You can use it just in the same way that you would use Blinding Light, the same way that you would use War Stomp, right? You don't have to go for Divine Resonance, because the extra Avenger Shields, while they're going to give you stuff like block chance, and they're going to give you stuff like, they're going to deal damage, and they're going to give you absorb shields, they're not 100% necessary. But this will generate holy power per target hit, which is important. If it did not generate that holy power, I would say put your points somewhere else, anywhere else. Eye of Tyr, very obvious choice. Shield of Righteousness grants additional 10% armor, and then we're going to go Bulwark of Righteous Fury. Avenger's Shield increases the damage of your next Shield of the Righteous by 30% for each target hit by Avenger's Shield, stacking up to 5 times, and increases its radius by 6 yards. This is very important. I think that it's very good. I think that that's huge for Mythic Plus. Probably not the choice for all of Mythic Plus. But I just there's a lot that we can do, right? So, over here we can do Gift of the Golden Valkyrie. When you drop, each enemy hit by your Avenger's Shield reduces the remaining cooldown of Guardian of the Ancient Kings by 1 second. Huge for Mythic Plus. When you drop below 30%, you become infused with Guardian of the Ancient Kings for 4 seconds. This can occur again for more than 35 seconds. 45 seconds. That's a nice, like, little cheat death. It's pretty good. Nothing crazy. We do only have 1 point left. which means that we kind of have to we just have to think just like a second about where we want to put this point, because we can go into something like Hand of Protector, like Uther's Counsel. You lay on hands to bind all this, have 20% reduced cooldown. We can absolutely. Um, alternatively, I'm trying to find out where I could possibly put this extra point. Relentless Inquisitor, maybe. Uh, Maybe, no. I think I didn't do this. I don't think I went into Improved Ardent Defender or this. And instead what I went is I did Resolve Defender, and then I did Soaring Shield. And I think that was my build. I don't think I went into Improved Ardent Defender. Um, which makes a lot of sense because it's not changed over here. Uh, so this is close to what I did. Again, you can change stuff up. If you feel like it doesn't matter if you hit. If you feel like you just need that, you can absolutely change it up. This is kind of the beauty of the new talent system, is that you have a lot more versatility. You have a lot more options with your choices, and your choices you can cater them to the boss fight that you're doing, to the dungeon that you're doing, to the content that you're doing, right? So if you feel like you're looking at this and you're like, Zap, this is way too much. I don't want to go into Divine Toll. I would rather focus more on, getting to Moment of Glory. If I would rather not do that, like, take those two, one, two, let's say 3 points out, not do either tier, and I'd rather get Moment of Glory, absolutely, do it. It is yours to make. This is the one that I'll be going with, and I might be playing with it. As soon as I start getting into Raid and I start actually getting my hands dirty with Dragonflight, this might completely change. I might find out that Avenger Shield is garbage, and I might find out that a lot of other systems are just not as good, right? But these are all essentially what I feel is appropriate. And of course, we're gonna apply these changes just so that I stick to that, right? Boom, and there we go. Our man is good to go. He is ready to rock and roll. If you end up on the beta and you're able to run around, you're able to try stuff out. Try queuing up for some random heroic, some random core and dire brew, I guess, because Brewfest is going on. Try that. Try some PvP. See where stuff goes. I started jewel crafting. Try the new profession system as well. I we were toying around with it, and it's wonky. It's so wonky, and I don't know how else to say it. It's not terrible, but it feels like a job. So there are like a lot of things that we were doing. I started dual crafting because I was trying to make myself a necklace, but I was like, I have to do so many things just to get to necklaces. There's specializations that you can go into that requires level 50. To get into another one is like level 75. It's insane. You, I would say if you can get onto the beta just to look at your professions, just to get an idea of what's going on with them, do it. Because even engineering, and in classic engineering fashion, is it's a mess to navigate. Um, so give it a try. They have all these guys lined up that just you can just literally just buy mats off of for nothing. You can literally hear people crafting. I wonder if it'll show people crafting stuff. Um, but yeah, you can literally just do whatever. So that's a quick look at professions. As you can see, everybody crafted their own gear. Um, so thanks for checking out this video. Thanks for paying attention. If for whatever reason you want to see more of this, just let me know. Thanks for stopping in, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.